90% is what I got. I done an IQ test. 3 months, maybe 2.5 months after I get my head kicked in, because I was desperately trying to find out at that point. I knew within myself that I was different, and I knew that something was going on in myself. I'd been trying to get help in Biggar for years before that, but the doctors just kept saying they can't help me for anger, and I didn't think I was an angry man, but everyone else said I was. But it just turns out I'm autistic, and people piss me off. We can't hold that back. My 90%, just for perception. What's perception? Well, it gives you the ability, everybody does it I guess, because you wouldn't be able to cross the street without it, and your brain's scanning everything to try and work out what's going on. I've been doing that my whole life because, well, I'm autistic, and most of the time you don't really know what's going on. So whether all autistic people have really high perception rates and their IQ test, I don't know, but I do. One of the psychologists was super interested to see that. She was really honing in on it for some reason, don't know why. But all that I found out, more and more of these psychologists and psychiatrists and lawyers and police officers, social workers, all the caregivers, allegedly, that have been in my life for 3.5 years. The information I've been getting from them all, in dribs and drabs, it's dribs and drabs to them. But to me it's absolute gold, because everything's just getting plopped into my head, and then my wonderfully gifted perceptive brain just spins it round and puts it together like Sherlock Holmes does at the end of an episode. It's quite something when the penny drops. Anyway, that's beside the point. I've got an IQ of 123. Some folk will not believe that because I'm dead stupid. I walk into stuff all the time, but that's because I'm autistic, not because I'm stupid. Anyway, with my blinked open eyes, not surprised yet demised, I was no longer quietly enjoying a think, but I was now somewhere different with a plod and the clink. That's the first line of my poem. Morning. That's the first line of my poem. They weren't very happy to see me. Some people are like that. I don't normally say morning to people if I'm doing a wee video, but the two of them look miserable. So I thought I'd say good morning. They never flinched. Must have had a bad night. That's okay. Lord bless them, I pray in Jesus' name. When I opened my eyes in the pub, not in the pub, when I opened my eyes in the police station, I realised immediately that I was no longer in Kansas. Kansas obviously mean Biggar, not because it's wild, just for the Wizard of Oz reference. Morning. He nodded. He must be having a good life. Everyone's having a good life. No for long. Anyway, again, that's why I'm trying to help you out here, regardless of what you think. A girl spoke to me the other day, said something about my ego, and then she told me that her God had told her to reach out to me. Claims to be a Christian. I hope you're listening to this, because you'll know who you are. But the things that she's doing and the things that she's talking about, there's nothing about it Christian. And I don't know which God, well I do actually, it's Satan. He comes as an angel of light. It's difficult for people to see it. And I'm sorry that you think that I think I'm something. I don't. I never have. All my life, every job, I've done it as efficiently as I possibly could and as safely as I possibly could. And because I've got such high perception, I've literally pulled people out of the road of buses. I've stopped them from doing something that if they'd carried on a microsecond, they would have been no longer with us. I've done that a lot in my life. I've never really given it much thought. But that must be why, because I'm super perceptive. It means that I can see things just before they happen. I wonder if that's why I have these thoughts of how to respond. I mean, so quickly. But yet I can see the visions, I can see those things happening so quickly. Which is why normally I have the option of just trying to calm a situation down. And then eventually what happens is, if you're calming a situation down, and again, I've done this my whole life. I've told you a couple of stories where I've had to leave a situation. And that's why I know I was drugged. That's why I know somebody spiked my drink that night. Because I'm no interested in doing any damage to people. Because I know that if somebody is going to attack me and I perceive it, I'm going to hurt that person. I'm going to need to be pulled off that person. And I make no apologies for that, because I've had to protect myself my whole life. I've been attacked physically, aye. Spiritually, aye. Mostly physically, most of my life. Anyway, that's all by the by. It's just to give you a bit of information about me. I just put it all down to the fact that I was a believer, that I had the Holy Spirit in me. I gave my heart to the Lord when I was 7. So, when we're persecuted as Christians, and you might not think that's true, go and speak to the folk in Nigeria, Sudan, to name but 2. There's Christians, mix of Christians, Catholics, Protestants, whatever you want to call it, believers. But regardless, they're looking to the Lord. They might have got their doctrine mixed up slightly, but we have to pray for them all, because they've got an eye for the Lord. And these people are being murdered, and I mean murdered, mainly by Muslims, by the way. In fact, it's not mainly nothing, it is by Muslims. I'm not going to go on at them again today. So anyway, my eyes opened up, and I'm going to try and run you through exactly what happened here without me giving you my opinion on it. That'll be difficult. So anyway, opened my eyes, and as I said, I'm standing there with a copper either side of me, and immediately I see the copper in front of me in the desk, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? And I looked to the guy to the left and I asked him, and he looked as if he'd seen a ghost. So blah blah blah. Spoke to the wee guy, he told me to shut up and just not to say anything else, because I was being recorded, and that's fair enough. Yeah. Sometimes folk just come and just put me off my stride, because I'm assessing everything, and sometimes I'm too aware of it, and it just throws me off of what I'm thinking about. There was a psychiatrist that said to me, it's all right now, Raymond, all we have to do, because of the dangerous jobs I've done, it's all right now, Raymond, what we just need to do now is just tell you that there's no more danger. That was in the summer of 2022. No more danger. The wickedness and the corruption that I've been involved in to try and bury the truth, bury this truth. May the Lord forgive yous all, and I genuinely mean it. I've decided I'm not going to pray for any of yous anymore that are involved in this, and I've prayed on that for a while. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to shake the dust off my feet. I've prayed for everybody plenty, more than I've prayed for a lot of people that should be getting my prayers of encouragement. People that are watching this and thinking, man alive, he's either got big balls or he's got some faith. And I'll tell you what it is, both. Because you can have all the faith in the world, but when the chips are down and you're stepping into the lion's den, or you're being told to step into the fire, are you going to do it? Because I did. Maybe I'm just stupid. Oh no, I can't be. I've got an IQ of 123 and my perception's 90%. So what does that mean? That means that I'm very well aware of what's going on round about me 90% of the time. Sometimes I'm going to get that wrong. And there's nothing I can do about that. There's folk walking down there, with dogs, and it's one of them that I'm going to be probably walking and talking for about 5 minutes as I'm walking along with them. So I'm just going to bring you into this little delight. Junkiesville in here, no doubt. I hope not, because there's lots of dogs about. But when we discussed that clearly I had emptied my bowels out, As I said, that's what happens when you're drugged. I know people that have had it, and it's just an instant. I think I said liver the last time, but it's probably your kidneys, And it's just, get out of my system. It'll come out through your sweat pores, it'll come out through vomit, it'll come out through there. But I hadn't been drinking. I'd only had a couple of glasses of wine in the house, so that's all gone by the time I even get to the pub. 8 hours later, I had 2 glasses of wine in there at the most. I don't even think I drank the second one, as I say. But anyway, so we're in the police station, and the guys are making me take my trousers and pants down in front of the 3 of them, and wipe myself with some handy wipes, And the guy says, don't say any more, son, blah, blah, blah. And then they chuck me in the cell. Now, after that, when the guy arrested me, the same guy again, he lied to me, And he told me that, because I'd said to him, did you take me to the hospital, by the way, in that state? And I says, because I remember just wiping some stuff down and then you throwing me in a cell. No, we took you to the shower and we got you all showered and cleaned up and all that. No, they didn't. You liar. It didn't. Isn't that sick? Anyway, we're going to get this walk another wee go again. Because I've not got a day. I've got to get back up for the morning meeting starting. I break bread with Mother Lebanese. I can't go to the assembly because I'm autistic. I'm so sensitive. I'm sensitive to everything. My senses are wide open, and I just can't control the sensation of being in a group of believers. Morning. I can't contain it. I mean, if you'd seen me sitting, I use the TV screen as like a pair of sunglasses to dull down the emotions that I experience while we're sitting remembering and praising the Lord for all the things that he did, for dying for me. I mean, somebody laid down his life for me, not just somebody, God. God came down from heaven to walk amongst us as a man, to live perfectly and complete the law. Not a hair out of place, by the way, as far as the law's concerned, because nobody could complete the law. That's why it had to be Jesus. That's why it had to be God. His own perfect blood was the only sacrifice that would be enough to pay for our sins. And I hope they heard me, because it's good for folk to hear the gospel, and that's what it is, the gospel. The gospel message, the good news that salvation's free. The Lord already paid for it. He came to save sinners. He didn't came to save the rich people of the world and the people that think they've got it all sewn up. Anyway, so they chucked me in the cell. The next morning I woke up. In fact, before that, they'd come in to see me, probably try to get me to open my phone up or do something like that, because that's what they do, so they can get right in about your business, see what else they can get you for, because they're all just the same. It's a gang. Just accept it. If you're a copper, don't worry about it. You already know it. You've got yourself a job. Good for you. I hope that you do a good job, because we're counting on you. We're counting on you, if you're a police officer, to have morals, and to do the right thing. And remember, you're a public servant. You're not a bam with a badge. So I'd asked the coppers immediately when they came into the cell about my phone, to phone my wife, ex-wife now, to get through to her, because the dogs were in the house. The dogs hadn't even made it for their nighttime pee-pee. So I was desperate to get the phone call made. I think they couldn't get hold of her until the next day. Regardless. And then the next morning when I woke up, shall we say, to me it just felt, I mean, like a massive hangover. I had no idea that I had been kicked to within an inch of my life. And what's interesting about the kicking to an inch of my life is that was all admitted in court. What was also admitted in court by Ewan Sanderson himself. You see, when you're in court and you're up in the stand, it's a woof, different place altogether. And if you're not intelligent, you've got no chance of holding on to your thoughts. Which he didn't. Because what he actually said, apart from the fact that he stood up in court, again I'm going to reiterate this, and say, while 2 people were outside holding me and struggling with me, whether they were fighting with me or not, it doesn't matter. My perception as an autistic adult that has been drugged, and I'm all over the place, that's what put me into that autistic space where you can't control the mask, where you just become, I don't know what, comfortably numb. It's the best place, the best way to maybe look at it. And that's when you're identified as different. And that's when the real go happens. But anyway, so upsetting thinking about it, man. Because if people would just admit the truth, it'd be a whole lot better for them. The Bible says it would be better for you if you weren't born. Can you imagine that? It would be better for you if you weren't born. What does that mean? Well, hell has no end. There's no end to hell. There's no end to heaven. I know which one I'd rather be in. Imagine somebody hurting you just like that. Pain, real nippy pain. The pain that wants you to just react, eh? There's different levels of pain, aren't there? Really low, nummy pains, really sharp. They're not really sore, but they just get you that you want to do that. That's what makes certainly traumatised autistic people so reactive. So bear that in mind if you ever decide to come up behind me and put your hand on me. You're better to let me know from a distance what your intentions are. I hope that all goes away. I don't think there's enough time left in the world for this to dissipate. How do you unravel 3.5 years of absolute torture and torment? And it has been, because a lot of people I know are watching the videos, people in the business industry I was in. Don't know what's going to happen with that. What a shame. And all the people up in Biggar right now that are involved in this, I mean, how are you even sleeping at night? How are you managing to pull the duvet over your head at night, knowing that you've been involved in all this, knowing that you've caused it? And whether or not Ewan Sanderson wants to think that he caused it, him and Stuart got involved that night, and they said that I left no bother. So they both get their hands on me, taking me out the pub, like they're the big man. Morning.
Hiya.
But the facts are, they're pissed up. And they're desperate for anything. Because everybody loves a Saturday night shoe-in, none more than Ewan Sanderson. Because as I said, a few weeks, months later, he was fighting a girl in the back streets. Fighting a girl. He was actually pulled in by the Cornets. The Cornets are the keepers of the village, eh? Everybody's born and bred there. I want to say inbred, but that's no fair, because I know a lot of these men. Good men. But they're covering it up now, because you all know it. You all know it. It's like the Wicker Man. You all know the kids are inside the idol, the statue. And you all know they're there and they're screaming. You can hear them screaming. But you set fire to it anyway. Because if anybody finds out the wickedness that goes on in the village, that you are all aware of. And if you're not aware of it, it's time to wake up and get aware of it. Because if you fly with the crows, you get shot with the crows, remember? In the morning I felt terrible. I mean, really terrible, eh? I needed to be sick so many times, but I couldn't be because there was nothing in me to come out. And what I knew was I had my t-shirt off, no mirror, so I couldn't see the state of me. And I didn't have any marks on my had a couple of marks on my hand, that was it. No marks on my knuckles or anything like that, as if I'd been knocking somebody out or really assaulting people, you know, like 30 or 40 hits. Similar to the 150 kicks that I took. That's an assault. Punching somebody 3 times isn't an assault. That's get off me. And by the way, he said in the court, when he ran out the pub, he wanted to hurt me. He wanted to hurt me. So you'll forgive me if all my spidey ding-dongs are going off like I don't know what. And my 90% perception rate is saying, right, there's 2 guys on me here already. Michael knows I didn't recognise him. Michael knows that I looked right through him. Michael won't admit it, because it's Michael's pub. Well, it will be soon. Maybe one day. I better not say soon, eh? Wishing Robert's life away. I certainly don't do that. But I do want you to do something, which is smarten your stuff up. Stop turning a blind eye to the things that are going on in your pub. Certainly get your CCTV system working properly. Certainly make more of an effort to stand up and tell some of the people in Biggar exactly what you now know to be true, because Michael, I know that you're watching everything that I'm posting, and I've got a real special prayer for you, my friend, because I think about your wee family and I think about your involvement in this, and I pray to the Lord that you cry out to him, and you ask for forgiveness, Michael, that you might be saved, because time is running out. People just can't see it because people don't want to see it. When you don't have any scope for anything, you don't want to know it. It's like revealing the magician's trick. You don't want to know it. But some people don't want to know the truth, God's truth. They just don't want to know it. Everyone's going to know it. Anyway, so hot, cold, up to the toilet, can't do the toilet, because there's nothing in me, remember? And I'm just sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, I'll never drink again. What have you done, Raymond? What's going on? What's happened? Because logically I'm just thinking, oh well, I don't know, I'm certainly not thinking somebody's drugged me. Although wasn't it funny that was the first thing out of my mouth? When I opened my eyes and the perception just hit, and you've got to make a judgment. I've had to make an assessment there and then, because you're opening your eyes and going, right, what's going on here? And I vocalised my thoughts, and that's what I said to him, whoa, what's going on? Have I been drugged? After he said to me what I'd done, nah, that's no me now. So I remember for a long time feeling like that, hot, cold, wanting to be sick but I couldn't. And I'm thinking, I was in so much pain. I mean, the pain that I was in all in my body, couldn't feel my face, my body, my back, my ribs would have broken, because I'm trying to breathe, remember, and my hands just flopping about like this. I mean, like flopping about, like not. I couldn't move my hand. And I'd been thrown in a prison cell or jail cell, left in there for 7 or 8 hours at least, I would have said. The next morning, eventually, as I said, they came to get me, to take me to the doctor. It was a Sunday morning, so there's no doctors on early, I think. I don't know. Don't even know what time it was. But they brought me in. What was funny, before they brought me in, you get hooked up to a security officer or whatever. It was a wee lassie, and she's trying to put the handcuffs on my right hand, and I'm ballooned up, and I'm towering above her, looking down, and I can remember just so gently just saying, can we use the other hand? This one's not working, And she started arguing with me, and thank goodness, but the copper that was with her, because it's a security outside G4 or something, and the postman went, just change hands, hen, guy's hand's not working. And I thought, thanks very much for that. And they did, they took me away, and that was fine. They shuffled me all the way to the doctor. And when I came in and sat down, the doctor, because he's a doctor, remember, he's not a copper. The doctor, he's a human. There's coppers that are humans too. But he could see the state of me. And he talked to me for a while. And he recorded zero signs of intoxication. That means I wasn't drunk. That means there was 0 signs of me being intoxicated, as in drunk. And he recorded that, and he gave me a couple of the heaviest painkillers that he could give me. And bang, that was me, back into autism mode. No ability to mask it, no ability to try and bring out the Raimi who I thought I was. I'm just cooling the gang now, I'm just bobbing about, seeing what's happening now. Taken to the hospital shortly after that. And do you remember I keep telling you about things being laced all the way through this? The police officer, one of them, who took me from Airdrie Police Station that Sunday morning to I don't even know what hospital I went to. It must have been the one at Coatbridge. Has to have been. I've no idea, Must have been. But the same police that took me that morning and spent, I don't know, about an hour, because there was 6 police altogether I had that day. 6. Can't do it with one hand. 6 police. Anyway, that particular police officer, he must have got a new job at some point, eh? Now he's the, wait to hear this, now he's the police officer in charge of standing at the back of the court. 98% of the time that I was in court, I didn't recognise him until one time I was meant to be going in to get trialled. One of the times that the Lord pulled the plug on that, because everyone was forcing me through an unfair trial. I ended up still getting forced through an unfair trial, but it doesn't matter. What was interesting was it was that guy, and he leaned down to me and said, "Do you remember me?" And I says, "I was going to take him a cake one time, by the way, before that," and then he was rude to me, so he didn't get a cake. And he said, "Do you remember me? You told me about your company, and I was the guy that took you." And I was like, oh my goodness, all this time I've been going, how do I know that guy? How do I know that guy? I could feel a connection from him, but isn't that weird, eh? And I talked to him, we were talking about why you don't attack people, because one punch, police have seen it, one punch for somebody, you can kill a man. Just bang, down he goes, he's dead, so I try not to do it. People are desperate to get punched off of me though for some reason. Anyway, that's the devil. Lord forgive them, for they know not what they do. I asked them, talked to them about being spiked. When I got to bed, 2 new police come in. They were younger, from Hamilton. They were nice, and they spent 8 hours, their full shift, sitting there watching over me, talking to me. Let's get them in, let's have a wee conversation with them, eh? We'll talk about the things that we were discussing. And wait to hear this. Long day, long day of agony, being poked and prodded by nurses. Place was overrun, eh? Place was still overrun for COVID. Folk were off, it was just a nightmare. And they investigated my back, and oh my goodness, let's talk a bit sensitive. That's the top pain I felt. I felt 2 or 3 pains in my life that were enough to put you to sleep forever, eh? That was the worst. And immediately, whatever they gave me, morphine or whatever, both gone. CAT scan, some other scan. They didn't want to let me out. In fairness to the doctors and nurses, they didn't want to let me out. They wanted to keep me in. But the police were struggling, eh? Police are up against it because it's after COVID, and now they've got 6 officers hanging about with me, and they're not going to bring another 2 in, eh? So let's get this violent criminal, let's get him wrapped up here and back into Airdrie cells. And that's what they did. And they took care of me in Airdrie cells. Thanks for that, folks. I appreciate it, I really do, and I genuinely mean that, because these people are human beings, eh? They are caregivers regardless. That's why you join the police. It should be. It's not always the case. Some people just like the pain, dishing it out. Some people get to the point, they've been so long in the army, that's just what they're into, eh? They love it. They love the orders. They love being part of being in the order, and they love nothing more than dishing it out. Bad eggs. So all day in that pain, eh? When the guys came to take me away, I said, this is now 6 officers bringing me back to Airdrie station. Remember I said to you, there was a wee guy on my right and another guy who I didn't like on my left when I came to in the police station, standing up, by the way, asking them what's going on, coherently, in a discussion with them. It's disgusting. This makes me so sick, and I hope it's making everybody sick to see people who know me, that can see me trying to get their story out. I hope it's turning your stomach, because this is what everyone's allowing to happen through fear. It was the same guy, eh? The wee guy that says, just don't say any more, son. It was him that brought me back to the police station, eh? With another buddy. And that's when I started going, right, I know what's going on here. These 2 aren't normally partners. They've been split up to deal with me that night. And they're probably just getting split up always because folk are coming to work, they're not coming to work, COVID's happening. And that's why I started going, all right, So when I seen the policeman and the lassie come to arrest me for the fake sexual assault that didn't happen, I mean, that just didn't happen. I can't keep telling you enough, and everybody knows it. And what the Procurator Fiscal did when I was getting tried there was he actually brought up that. He's bringing up the fact that I've already been done trying to hammer, because he can't believe he's got a victory, because he was just thrown in. You want to see this, by the way? There's efforts being made to put people away, and I think at that point they knew, and I don't really think they wanted me to get done here. I genuinely don't think they wanted me to get done, because I would have probably just left all this alone, because my 2 years is up. I'm no longer on the pedos list, that I should never have been on before. That turns my stomach round. It really does. I couldn't care less about punching a guy, but I certainly didn't take a knife to a man's face, that's for sure. He said in court, when they pulled me off him, when I had, too late, Ewan, you've said the words. Too late, Ewan, you've said the words. That's all I thought about. On it. That's actually Jason Brown's mum and dad. I've seen Jason for probably about 30 years. Hi, Jason. That was your mum and dad. I remember them. That's it. That's it. That's the story, really. Because you've heard all the other stuff. Not all of it. It's too much. You could put this in a 7-hour movie. There could be a 3-parter out it, but nobody's interested. Just like nobody's interested in God. Nobody's interested in looking at anything out with Hamilton, out with Strathclyde, out with Scotland, out with the UK. Where do you stop? There's so much access to information available via this wee TV screen here. And what are we doing with it? Staring at folk dancing and flicking bottles. That seems awfully strange to waste your time like that. But we're all guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. Just like we're all guilty of sin. We're all guilty of something. I'm guilty of punching that guy, but I'm not guilty of attacking him and assaulting him. The problem that the jury had that day was, the facts are the guy's face was ripped open. I didn't look at it, but I know it was a mess. And the facts were, a knife was found in my right hand up here like this. What did they think I'd done? Did they think I had got the white spirits out, whipped them out my back pocket and a wee clean rag, got everything nice and clean for the forensics team while I'm getting my head kicked in? Did they think that I wiped that clean of DNA and blood while I was getting my head kicked in on the ground? Because they were told by the sheriff not to be playing police officer. Not that that holds much hope. There doesn't seem to be any police officers that are worth their pennies, because a blind man can work out all this stuff that I'm telling you. And that's why they haven't came to my door to go, right, you shut up, you stop saying all this stuff on Facebook. Because they know it's true. So we've all sinned. We've all done bad things. And I'm glad that I can stand up today and just remind you that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The Lord's been with me this whole time. The Lord's been with me this whole time, because nobody can put their finger on what happened, how it came about. It's just easier for them to say, right, I took a knife to a man's face and that didn't happen, and the Lord knows that didn't happen, so that's what matters to me. I would like for you all to understand that, because if you understand that by the way I'm talking to you, the words I'm using, the repetitive nature of the same story, the hard evidence that I've showed you, all the circumstantial stuff that I'm telling you, please allow it just to float over you. I don't know if you have the gifts to be able to bring all that together. Get a pen and paper out and write them down. I think that's how other people do it. I don't. It just goes in my head. I used to make plans when I was doing crane plans, lifting plans for the bridge and for the jobs I've done and all the rest of it. You plan everything out, And when somebody comes in and messes up the plan, that's when you have to replan it again. That's annoying. But thankfully, when the Lord had made the plan to put right what Satan had cursed this world with. Satan never brought sin in, he cursed the world with sin. And way back then, before it even began, the Lord knew it would have to come into play. He would have to rejig the plan. And it's war, remember, what a plan it was. All the time that Satan's crew were getting ready, they thought they'd stirred up the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Let's kill him, let's put him to bed. If we can kill him, he can't come and save his people. Because the Jews all thought he was there to be the conquering Messiah. Messiah ben David, the Messiah, Mashiach, son of David. But he was there as Messiah ben Joseph, son of Joseph, a suffering servant. Because he had to come and show us all how we should live, to be in service to people, to try and encourage people, to edify them, to preach the gospel, to tell them the good news that we're no longer subjected to the laws of this world. Yes, we have to follow them because morally we have to have laws, but the laws should be fair. Anyway, because the laws aren't fair, we are as sheep to the slaughter, as a drink offering poured out to the Lord, a sweet smelling savour, our sacrifices in this life. So what am I sacrificing? Probably everything. I don't know. I don't care. It's just important that you know that Jesus loves you, no matter how dark things get, no matter how upsetting things are. Jesus loves you. He always has and he always will. But you have to call out to him. You have to ask him. You have to be seen to say to him, Lord, please help me out here. Guide me. Save me from all of this stuff that's going on. And this is my prayer, and I'm almost home. So I'll pray for you all, apart from the ones that have hurt me, because you've had all my prayers that you're getting. Now it's judgment time. God bless you. Time's short.